where do you stand on the rookie starting week one conversation and how it's kind of crawled into this conversation and the many tributaries?
So I'm pro get the rookies out there and actually see what you have in them at some point. I just think weeks 1 through 6, I think I'm similar to where JP is on this, where weeks 1 through 6 are an absolute atrocity if you start a rookie quarterback. Like 5 out of the 6 defenses you played are probably going to be top 10 to 15 defenses, all back to back to back. Of course, other than the Bengals, who are going to probably be like 29, 30. But I think that's an absolute no-go for a rookie quarterback, especially like maybe if you draft him in the first round, maybe if it's Cam Ward, I go out and I make that decision, not when it's Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
So it's funny. I see your point, and I see when JP says that. I don't think you should force the rookie starting week one, meaning it's not fait accompli, right? They have to earn it, and they don't just have to earn it. They probably have to be tangibly better than either of the vets, which I think is going to be really hard with Joe. I don't know it's going to be that tough with Kenny Pickett, even though he is a preseason Pickett and he just becomes Joe Montana when the games don't matter. When the games matter, it becomes Kenny Pickett. But I do want to leave the door open. Like that's what vexes me a little bit. If it's like, no, don't start him. It's like, guys, if they're ready and they can hang and they're the better quarterbacks, who gives a rip who the first 6 games are? Because the whole point of this is, at least from the fan perspective, the media perspective, the Browns might not view this in a 1-year silo for those 2 guys. We should.
So I think more of it comes down for like almost a killer of confidence type thing. Because
I think that's protected. I think that's being a little precious, don't you?
Not really. Like, I think if you go out there and you say, okay, you're on the same plane as a Joe Flacco, talent-wise, what you're going to perform, or maybe you're better than Joe Flacco would perform, I think even if you start Joe weeks 1 through 6, Joe's going to struggle. Throws a lot of interceptions. I think against those defenses, you probably see him throw a lot of interceptions. Probably it gets rushed.
Flacco?
I know, right?
Interceptions? Oof. How dare you?
I'm just saying, I think more so than if he would have played the entire 18 games. There's obviously that 6-week stretch is going to be difficult. I think when you take a rookie quarterback and you throw them into that and they see the first 6 weeks are difficult, it makes playing that easier team week 7 through 17 or 18 and your easier spots. It doesn't make it harder, but it makes it, I think, more difficult to have the same level of confidence. Like, oh, I'm just going to go sling it. It's, oh, I've thrown 8 interceptions in 6 games. Hopefully I don't do it here.
All right. So you really got to earn it. And so I'm like 96% sure it should be Joe Flacco week 1. But specific to you, it sounds like you're 100% absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, unless they are like God's gift to earth. It's like 99.8%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're that far off on that, which is interesting because I think most fans are there, which is, man, I'd love to see one of the rookies just because it's a confidence builder. It's more interesting. If Joe wasn't in the room, I think we'd be 100% we want them to start because none of us believe in Kenny Pickett. But Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network, and mind you, Daniel used to work for the Browns as a scout, is one of the most glued-in guys in the NFL when it comes to former personnel guys. He was on the Rich Eisen show, and his view on a rookie starting week 1 at quarterback for the Browns is wildly different than yours or mine.
I feel like Flacco probably has his spot reserved, and then it's going to be 3 for 2. So you got those 3 young guys competing for the 2 spots. And I would say, based off of Gabriel, where he was picked, based off of the ability, and I go back to Shedeur was my 20th player. He's a first-round caliber player. Like talent-wise, both those guys, I think, have a huge advantage over Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett has to be light years better than each of them to make the teams. To me, I think Joe Flacco is just in case they don't feel like they can be competent at the position, then you insert Joe. I think their week 1 starter is going to be, I think it's going to be one of those 2 rookies.
All right, so there's a few things. One, the thing I think he's most right on is the Kenny Pickett stuff. And I think this is where this flies right in line with how I've thought of Kenny Pickett since they drafted the second rookie, or since they drafted the second quarterback. I think it was going to be the 2 veterans and a rookie, and then we're just going to kind of throw it out there and see, give Kenny a chance to win the job, but it's Joe's job to lose, kind of thing. I think Kenny's fighting for a supper here, and I think he really is singing for a supper. And it wouldn't surprise. Listen, I think the only reason if he doesn't win the starting job, I think the only reason he'll be on the roster week 1 is injury or Andrew Berry's stubbornness that he doesn't want to look like he lost that trade.
I think there's a good chance he ends up being rostered. I think.
Why?
I don't agree with the 4 quarterback thing.
I'm very upset.
Why? Why?
Show your work.
I don't agree with the
your
4.
chest.
I don't agree with 4 quarterbacks starting and going out there and being there week 1. I think there's a world where the Browns do that, and I think it's disastrous. I also just think we disagree with Kenny being in the room, but I think for much different reasons. Like, my fear is not that Kenny is the worst quarterback on the planet and is just absolute garbage when he throws in there, which I think would probably be more likely than not. My fear is Kenny Pickett looks good, or acceptably good. Obviously, I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback, but if the offense functions, I would fear that you get into a situation like Seattle did with Geno Smith, or like the Vikings could have with Sam Darnold, where you watch a guy play well and you're like, oh, this could work.
Oh,
maybe this could happen. Then Kenny starts all year, and all of a sudden you have Kenny Pickett as your quarterback for the next 4 years, and you're destined to be a 9-win football team as your cap.
I'll indulge you on the idea that Kenny's secretly going to be passable. I think he's like last year for Brock Purdy, where people are like, well, the stats weren't that bad. If you watch Brock Purdy was hot trash last year. And there were stretches where it wasn't very good the year before, despite the stats telling a different story. My greatest fear is that Kenny Pickett might be good enough to get you to 7-10, and then you have to decide between giving him $40 million a year, which he would not be worth in this event, but he was playable. Like, that's more where my concern is. I just think I think the second you drafted Shador, I think Kenny became obsolete. You don't need to carry 4 quarterbacks on this roster. You at some point you're going to be chincing it on some other spot that you need week to week, game to game, much more. And the Browns, there is a workaround because of the way vesting works with vested free agents. You could just cut Joe Flacco and have him add him to the practice squad and do that. That's still a lot of shenanigans for Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and 2 mid-round quarterbacks. We don't listen. If you've got 4 guys, it can be legitimate starters in the NFL. Clutch on to as much as you can, and pray the right offer comes at the trade deadline, or pray you find a way to boost one of their value with playing. It's Joe Flacco, it's Kenny Pickett, it's Dylan Gabriel, and it's Shador Sanders. I didn't just name a murderer's row of quarterbacks. This is not Joe Montana, Steve Young, Steve Bono, and Elvis Gerbach, which I believe one of the years was their quarterback room in San Francisco. It's not Brett Favre, Matt Hasselbeck, and, who was the other quarterback? Is it Detmer? I think it was Detmer. That's 3 guys who are, at the very least, either a high-level backup or a fringe starter, or Brett Stinkin' Favre and eventually Matt Hasselbeck. I think we've allowed the Browns to massage the truth of this idea. And again, that's what they do. That's what organizations should do. You're trying to sell a fight that you love all your players. I think Kenny's only here is if he takes the job. All right, sorry. And I think not only do I think that's the way it is, I think it's the way it should be. If he's not good enough to take the job, let the rook sit on the bench behind Joe Flacco. And in the event that Joe folds or get hurt, then go to one of the rookies. But I do think the other part of this, where I think it's wild that Daniel thinks, and again, this is a connected individual. I know that Daniel might be looking at the situation, then piecing it together. I'm going to assume this is informed speculation from him. It's wild that he just is. He's framing the Joe piece right, which is Joe is the break glass in case of emergency. Hey, these rookies don't look ready to play. Now, Daniel was saying functional, that is a much lower bar than you or I have set here. I think it's wild that one of the most respected voices in football right now, we haven't even gotten to camp yet, thinks it's going to be a rookie. That's and again, informed take. I'm not fighting the take. I'm just thinking, I think this challenges a lot of the notions people have on this.
So you and I can only react to what's in the room, and I think this is where I draw the issue. Is the Browns just built a quarterback room that didn't make any sense for their future, right? Like,
it made sense for this year. Not a lot of sense, but it made some sense for this year.
But I don't agree with Joe bringing Joe back in the first place. Like, it's a pander to the fans. It puts a smile on people's faces, reminiscing about 2023. But Joe has essentially no place for you as an actual role on this team. A 40-year-old quarterback who is desperate to find the right quarterback that can actually take them for 10 plus years. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a franchise guy. You threw Joe in there. If I wanted to put Joe Flacco on the roster, I would have said scrap the quarterback position completely. Do an entire
Wildcat.
I'm
just want to do the Wildcat?
No, not that way. I'm saying
you just said scrap the quarterback position.
I meant in the draft, like scrap drafting a quarterback and go with a bridge quarterback like Flacco. Give him 18 games, assess everything, or 17 games. Give him assess everything else around you. Then get your quarterback in 2026. If that's what you wanted to do, you wanted to bring in the rookies. Now it's just, we can start the 40-year-old. Congratulations, you got yourself a 40-year-old quarterback that can play 6, that can play 17 games. And you know exactly what you're getting for nothing else.
Listen, I think if the Browns end up playing Joe Flacco for 17 games, it's because they're winning 8, 9, 10, 11 games in the playoff hunt. There's no way you're going to get the organization to frame that's a bad thing. If Joe plays 6 games, well, then it was clear they were afraid of the early part of the schedule as well. And let's say he starts the first 6 games, they go 1-5, they go right to Shedeur, Dillon, Gabriel. Then it's clear he was a meat shield. Either which way, that's a lot more useful than tiny baby hands Kenny Pickett, who I don't even think should start to if you feel that way about the 2 rookies, you damn sure shouldn't wish those first 6 games on Kenny Pickett.
Kenny at least makes sense organizationally. I mean, he's a veteran.
He stinks. He's never played good football in his life.
That's perfectly
Since
fine.
Pitt, 1 season at Pitt. Sorry.
Okay, so Kenny's essentially your meat shield with a 2% upside of, maybe he's just incredible. Why is Joe the meat shield? Why do you bring in a 40-year-old quarterback to be the meat shield for the first 6 games?
Because he's a functional quarterback and Kenny isn't.
They clearly thought Kenny is. First thing you did this offseason, let me give a 5th-round pick to the Eagles for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of weight on that 5th-round pick. 216-474-0092. Daniel Jeremiah says he expects a rookie at quarterback to start week 1. I think we kind of just go here. What percentage point as of right now, because I think this can change once we get into camp. Like right now, coming out of OTAs, what percentage point would you put that a rookie actually starts week 1? I think I put about, did I say 96%? It's about a 4% chance I think it actually happens. What was yours?
I think I'm at 0.2.
It's like 0.001, I thought. I mean, weren't you like 99.99?
No, I said 99.9 or 99.8. I threw one of them out there. It was it was in that range. It was a tenth of a decimal. I don't know which one.
I don't even remember your decimal points. Jeez.